The maritime world has seen several technical marvels throughout history, but few can match the Sea-Wise Giant's grandeur and legacy. This huge ship, once the largest ever built, grabbed the imagination with its sheer size and incredible journey. So, in today's video, we'll look at the challenges that the Sea-Wise encountered throughout time. But before that, make sure to like and subscribe for more interesting content. The record for the longest and heaviest ship ever built belongs to the supertanker Sea-Wise Giant. It measured 200 meters longer than the Titanic and 100 meters longer than the Icon of the Sea, the longest cruise ship currently in operation. It was astonishingly taller than the Empire State Building in New York. After being attacked by the Iraqi forces during the Iran-Iraq War in 1988, it became the largest ship in history to sink. But the Sea-Wise Giant was not meant to stay at the ocean's bottom. Before being scrapped in 2010, the Sea-Wise Giant was salvaged, repaired, and renamed several times before it was put back into service. This is the amazing tale of the Sea-Wise Giant, the vessel that withstood both time and war. A Greek businessman who wanted to build a huge oil tanker placed the first order for the Sea-Wise Giant in 1974. The Japanese shipbuilder, Sumitomo Heavy Industries, was left with a massive vessel without a buyer when he later withdrew from the agreement. A Hong Kong tycoon named Tung Chao-Yung bought the ship in 1981 and decided to enlarge it. He extended the ship's length by a few feet and added over 140,000 tons in its capacity. In honor of Tung's shipping firm Sea-Wise, the vessel was named Sea-Wise Giant. The Sea-Wise Giant was a very large ship. The length of it exceeded the height of the Empire State Building, measuring 1,504 feet in length and 225 feet in width. It could carry more than 4 million barrels of crude oil due to its deadweight tonnage of 564,763 tons. But because of its size, it was unable to pass through the Panama, Suez, or English channels. Additionally, it features a massive 1.86-mile turning circle and a 5-mile stopping distance. Because of its enormous cargo capacity, the Sea-Wise Giant was not designed for speed or maneuverability. Now, the Sea-Wise Giant had amazing features in addition to its enormous size. Its enormous rudder alone weighed an incredible 230 tons, which demonstrated the engineering skill needed to maneuver such a massive machine. The Sea-Wise Giant was a true titan of the seas with 2 propellers, 46 tanks that can hold 4 million barrels of crude oil, and 339,500 square feet of deck space. The Sea-Wise Giant's resilience to challenging sea conditions was one of its most notable characteristics. Because of its sturdy construction, it was able to move through waters that were teeming with ice. Its size and design also made it more resilient to bad weather and choppy seas than smaller ships. Additionally, the ship was equipped with a variety of cutting-edge safety and navigational tools, such as satellite navigation radar and communication systems. Because of its enormous size as well, the Sea-Wise Giant requires sophisticated navigation techniques, which were handled by a highly skilled crew. In addition to embodying the height of maritime engineering at the time, the Sea-Wise Giant's design and specifications established new standards for shipbuilding in the future. Now, let's talk about its role in global trade and economy. Because of its enormous size, once again, the Sea-Wise Giant was mostly utilized for long-haul trips carrying crude oil between the Middle East and the United States, as well as other regions in the world. Since it was too big to fit through the main canals like the Suez and Panama, its usual route involved going around the Cape of Good Hope. And due to the ship's enormous capacity, which allowed it to transport enormous amounts of oil in a single voyage, the economics of oil transportation were greatly affected. During the years it was in service, the Sea-Wise Giant was vital to the world's oil trade. Its capacity to move such massive amounts of oil affected the world's oil markets. It increased the oil supply chain efficiency by lowering the price per barrel of transported oil, making it a valuable resource for the energy industry. The ship's operations, which frequently reflected the political and economic climate of the day, were intimately linked to swings in the world oil market. For 7 years, the primary function of the Sea-Wise Giant was to transport crude oil from the Middle East to the United States. However, it ended up in the middle of a conflict area in 1988. Iraqi fighter jets attacked the Sea-Wise Giant, a ship that was anchored off the Larik Island in the Strait of Hormuz on May 14, 1988, while it was transporting Iranian oil. Massive explosions and fires were caused by the Exocet missiles fired by the jets at the ship. Multiple missiles struck the Sea-Wise Giant, causing significant damage. The crew did manage to flee and abandon the ship, but as a result, it sank to the bottom of the ocean. The Sea-Wise Giant insurers declared it was unsalvageable and deemed it a total loss. It stayed underwater for a few months until a Norwegian business made the bold decision to attempt to raise it. Anders Jahre was the company's seasoned salvager and leader with a track record of taking on challenging projects. The Sea-Wise Giant was severely damaged, but Jarre thought it was still possible to save and restore it despite the depth of the water. Jarre and his crew started working to save the Sea-Wise Giant in late 1988. After extracting the oil and water from the ship's hull and the tanks with strong pumps, they fitted massive airbags to raise the vessel to the surface. The prolonged conflict, the possibility of mines and other attacks, and other factors made the process time-consuming and difficult. In March of 1989, the Sea-Wise Giant underwent inspection and repair at a dry dock in Dubai after being refloated. Although the Jarre Viking served as a symbol of human tenacity and perseverance, the harsh realities of the shipping business eventually caught up with the enormous ship. Running a ship this size became more and more economically unfeasible. The Jarre Viking's boat made it difficult for it to navigate the English Channel, narrow channels, and necessitated constant attention to avoid grounding in shallower waters. In addition, the Jarre Viking's massive fuel requirements meant that it ran at a loss because of its size. As the shipping industry developed, it became clear that more economical and agile vessels were needed. The Jarre Viking's days as a useful shipping vessel came to an end, despite its amazing cargo capacity and once awesome dimensions. Given the extensive structural and mechanical damage the ship had sustained, the repair work was an enormous undertaking. The hull of the ship was full of holes and cracks, and the accommodation bridge and engine room were all destroyed. The oil and salt water that had corroded the ship's components also need to be cleaned off. Jarre was adamant about bringing the ship back to life, despite the fact that repairs took more than 2 years and more than $100 million. After his nickname, Happy Giant, he gave the ship a new name. The Happy Giant was prepared to return to service as an oil tanker in 1991. It carried crude oil all over the world after receiving charters from numerous businesses and nations as well. It was once more renamed the Jarre Viking in 1991 in honor of its owner. After undergoing conversion, it was moored at the Al Sahin oil field in Qatar in 2004 as a floating storage and offloading unit. Once more, it was renamed to Knock Nevis after a village in Norway. Over 5 years, the Knock Nevis has performed its function as a floating storage and offloading platform. Even so, this new phase of its illustrious existence was not intended to last. The Knock Nevis was retired and sent to a scrapyard because the oil market was shifting and it wasn't easy to maintain such a large ship. The master ship was retired and eventually taken to a scrapyard because it was too difficult for it to navigate through these changes. The once mighty ship, which had withstood many storms in its illustrious existence, was about to meet its demise due to the unrelenting passage of time and the advancement of the industry. For its last trip to India, where it was to be scrapped, it was sold to an Indian company in 2009 and given a new name, Mont. December 2009 saw the Mont arrive at Gujarat, India's Alang shipbreaking yard. Hundreds of laborers sawed the ship into pieces and sold the scrap metal and other parts after it washed up on the coast. After nearly a year, the Sea-Wise Giant's arduous and exciting voyage came to an end with its scrapping. The ship that had withstood time and war to become the biggest and heaviest in the world was lost forever. Due to its remarkable stature and extensive background, the Sea-Wise Giant has garnered public attention and gained recognition in popular culture. Numerous media, including books, television specials, and even documentaries, have told the amazing story of the Sea-Wise Giant. While books and articles centered on its historical journey covering construction, operational years, and the dramatic event during the Iran-Iraq War, documentaries frequently demonstrated its sheer scale and engineering marvel. Both the general public and maritime experts are interested in the ship's transformation from a wartime wreck to a fully functional vessel. The Sea-Wise Giant came to be acknowledged as the pinnacle of shipbuilding human engineering. People found it more appealing because of its story, especially the amazing part about it, which was that it survived and was able to be repaired after being sunk. It was also used as a standard by which to measure other big ships too. The Sea-Wise Giant, which displays human ingenuity in the face of enormous challenges, is still fascinating and inspirational. But that's all for today's video. What do you think about this fall? Let us know in the comments down below. Speaking of ships, do you know of another misfortunate event that involves a ship? Well, watch this video to find out more about the Baltimore Bridge incident uncovered.